Hey guys, I just wanted to do my review of Legends of Tomorrow, um, season 3, episode 18, The Good, the Bad, and the Cuddly, the season finale. I was thinking about doing just a reaction video, just like I did with usually do with Walking Dead and Agents of Shield, just as a special occasion. But since my last video, I think I mentioned in other videos that was hit with a copyright claim. It wasn't the video wasn't blocked. My last video was hit with a copyright claim, so I just figured that if I'm going to be singled out by CW or WB on that, I figured it's like I don't want to get any more videos that are just going to get blocked. In spite of me just not using more than the 10 minutes of footage. So apologies, I'm not able to do that. I really wish I could have done that because it was a really good episode. It starts out with basically using the well, I guess maybe not everyone, but everyone using the 5 out of the 6 totems to fight against Malice, or as it turns out, Malice was actually his real name, which his name points out does sound cooler, and it basically means that Rip and subsequently anybody he talked to was butchering his, I guess was like butchering his butchering his name all season. And people were right when he was saying Malice, even and like it was an ongoing joke when people thought it was called Malice, and people were saying no, it's Mullis. Then he was say, and then the demon himself confirmed, no, my name is Malice, and it's makes Rip look like more like an idiot. But it was kind of cool to see the legends who were burying the totems. The Saints, the Death Totem. Sarah didn't use it to were like fighting off Malice with combined like energy attacks, and Wally zipping around him, and Rip decides to take a time drive out of the Wave Rider, and because it's unstable, use it to basically like vaporize himself and hold off Malice. But even and I mean, luckily they had like a spare time drive in the time ship, but for some reason, uh, I don't know. It just looked. I don't know. It just felt to me like I don't know. It came happened like so immediately that it just felt like this wasn't enough to kind of redeem Rip for me. Like he just been such a like I mean the guy's like been such a dick all season, and maybe there was more build up to him trying to like get his act together. And the fact that we never knew the full extent of why Ava was why he recruited Ava and why she was, what she meant by she was special, whether she was just blowing smoke up her ass, or just trying to basic and just cover his own. So it's I don't know. It just doesn't feel. It just came off as just kind of this cheap, just cheap to me, and I didn't really just felt. I felt kind of like apathetic, and plus, it looked like it kind of looked like the a blast that's caused them both him and Malice to disappear. So I don't even know if he's even dead really. And but it seems like they barely have it. He's barely like a major character on the show anymore, and it seemed like the writers just haven't known what to do with him, especially in later seasons. So, and I think maybe the actor might have other commitments. So I don't know if or when we'll be seeing him again, but they decide to go to the Legends decide to regroup in Salvation 1874, since that's the temporal like blank zone. I think or blank or bleak zone, or I forget what it was called. It's where they went to hide out in season 1 when they were on the run from the Time Masters. And they bump into Jonah Hex again, and there seems to be like a ship tease between, or like a mutual attraction between him and Zari, since they were both kind of like lone wolves, and they mentioned how they you know didn't I guess like they mention how they both like don't take a easy liking to people, and how like the legends were like people who won them both over. And there's also and then and Sarah tells Ray while watching Damien Dark not to do anything stupid, which of course he does, which is basically reroute the time drive onto the time shift so he and Damien can go back to Zambezi to the moment where base to where Malice was released from Nora's body and killed her in the process. And Damien secretly takes it was like Ray's anti-magic nanite gun that he used back in, it was like episode 12 on Nora, and Damien uses it on Nora, which is enough to like keep Malice from like coming temporarily escaping and taking over. And robs I guess Nora of her magic, but as a consequence, it just Malice decides to transfer his essence into Damien Dark, which is what he was counting on, and he was basically just sacrificing himself just to atone for like just basically all like the chaos he's brought about, just for at least or at least trying to save his, or at least did this like save his daughter's sake, and just realized like how much it was going to cost him Nora, and like you said, he didn't want her to turn out to be a monster like him. And then it was kind of weird because it seems like based on rewatching that scene and then for this review and then like seeing that in the episode, it seems like, I don't know, there was like deliberately more time between when the Damien and the Legends came out of the hut to see Malice emerge, that technically like they should have been technically they should have been seen by the past Legends and past Damien by that point, but they just kind of I'll just give them that. Just one of those things you just kind of got to go with. But basically now Damien's the one that ends up getting killed in the process when Malice reemerges, and I guess Nate and Amaya go on another vision quest and see how they're using the totems together to form some kind of circle, and I guess use some kind of like energy or manifestation to I guess that's how that's how they try to defeat Malice, or that's how they could defeat Malice. And once again, like, they have like Nate like getting high off of the tea because like he ended up taking a huge gulp of it instead of a sip, like before, so he didn't learn his lesson. At first I was kind of like, okay, they're really gonna repeat this joke, but he wasn't as like over the top this time, but he did keep making jokes about, he did have trouble like enunciating and kept making jokes about how the Legends working together was gonna stop Voltron, or how they were gonna form Voltron. And they formed this circle, held hands, and they almost had this like telepathic link and try to like focus and use the totems. Sarah using the death totem, Maya her animal, Wally the water, Mick fire, Nate earth, and Zari wind. And they ended up like creating some like weird like alien creature or something like that, and Mick was going, wait, are we making a baby? It's like, can we just focus right now? It was like, I'm not sure. Are we making a baby? And Nick, Mick just like kind of freaks out, and then ends up just burning whatever alien like thing they create. And because Zari had sent a beacon out throughout time earlier in the episode, Ava ends up showing up and recruits Jax, or at least an older version of Jax from I guess like 2022 or 2023. He just says like Jax. He says for Jax it's been 5 years by his time because he already has like a wife and a baby. Which I guess I don't know. I guess I could have. pull Jax from present day Jax, but I guess they wanted to show that it's like, oh, like what kind. I guess they wanted to show like what kind of life he was going to lead, outside of outside of the Legends, and now he's no longer Firestorm, and they also bring Helen of Troy from Themyscira, and Kawasa, who did live in who survived in an alternate timeline where the village wasn't destroyed, and she shares the mantle of Vixen and the Zambezi totem and the Anansi totem with Mari. I guess them both presumably protecting Detroit, and which is and she's even like wearing like a similar Vixen outfit as well, and and together with Jonah Hex, they had to face off against like the armies of like Vikings and pirates, as well as the Roman army, all led by I think it was Freitas, Blackbeard, and Julius Caesar respectively, and they're all possessed by Malice, I mean, and so it was kind of this cool like epic fight like throughout like that whole like old western town, the sword fight between Amaya and Blackbeard, and the legends, beating up the Roman, Nick beating up Julius Caesar, and the whole fight with the Vikings, and you know and like even like they show like Helen being able to be good with a gun, like sharpshooting, but I guess she was using her sword fighting skills, and it and Ava coming to Sarah's rescue when she was trying to bait the armies into following them by horseback, and having all the totems in hand, and Ava was also able to give Sarah the pep talk to say that they were going to become, they live up to their title. They ironically gave themselves of legends, and that they were worthy of the totems, and then when they were finally able to focus and combine the power of the totems, at first you said, Nate, is like, you're thinking, wait, really, you were thinking about him? And that's what somebody says, and then Sarah says, yeah, I was thinking about him too. And at first you thought like, oh my god, they're gonna form Voltron, and then you realize that, and then in hindsight you probably couldn't do that because of they don't want like a lawsuits or whatever, and they end up forming the legends combine to form a giant Beebo, who ends up just going into this like huge, doing like backflips and just beating up on Malice and just like body slamming him, and even to the point where it's like they do this like backflips, and even he's doing like come here like a martial artist, like, and even to the point where it's like they're able to like body slam him all the way in midair, where it's like their allies and Ray watch, and like they're able to like basically crush him to death, or like explode, and it ends up killing Malice, which is, I mean, it's totally absurd and idiotic in true Legends fashion, but that's just how this show rolls. Like they do like the more completely unorthodox, like over the top things that in terms of us, like, it's just so wacky that it's like, of course they would do something like make a callback to Beebo, and even Frida's making a whole thing about a true God of War is returned or something like that. And then when all's said and done, you have like the Time Bureau like erasing all the people in the town of Salvation's memories, and taking all the people back to everybody going back to their respective times, including Amaya, who and you have like Jonah Hex even giving Zari his hat to remember him by, and Amaya and Sarah teasing her about the whole mutual attraction, and Nate dropping Amaya back in 1942, and they kiss and say their final goodbyes, and Amaya insists that that her memory is not erased because that will be the only part. It's the only part of it's the only part of Nate that she'll be able to remember. And like I figured, like this was kind of like an inevitability. They both knew it was inevitable. The whole audience knew it was inevitable, considering that it just needs. I mean, it's like you can't keep her. You can only keep her like on the show and out of her timeline for so long without having negative consequences. And as a result, all the legends decide to go to Aruba, much to Mick's chagrin, because he just wanted to go by himself. And then first you see like Gary show up and like just dressed up as Constantine. I was just like, oh great, they're just faking us out with the Constantine return, and then actual Constantine actually shows up and drops like a severed dragon head in front of the legends and asking like whose idea was it to release Malice. Everybody points to Sarah. Nate points to Sarah, and it turns out that somehow their actions now, instead of creating more anachronisms, now they release like other demons. So now apparently, and which is also why Constantine is going to be joining the legend, because I guess they have to fight I guess other time demons or something. Which I don't know. It's just I guess it's just hard to. I guess I figured it was like the whole anachronism thing. Like they could have continued that through season 4, but I guess they wanted to try like a different kind of shtick instead of just having to fix anachronisms, and they just threw in some line where it's just like, oh, well, it's like, oh, that's gonna be the Time Bureau's problem now, which is I don't know how I feel about that. I feel like it still could have continued into season 4, and I don't know how I'm gonna do how the whole like legends fighting demons now thing is gonna work through time travel. I mean, we'll see. I mean, time will tell. How if they'll pull that off, and no, I guess the only disappointing thing is that I guess the only thing that I would have liked to have seen is that I would have been cool to see like Ray become giant size again, like when he fought that robot in season 1, or like Constantine have a more active role in the finale. But it also didn't mention what happened to Grodd at the end of season 7, the end of like episode 17. But I guess they didn't mention that that's the Time Bureau's problem, where it's just like, okay, where it's like they're not really equipped to deal with a telepathic like angry gorilla. So I feel like that has to be like something that has got to be addressed, at least like going into season 4, like because it's like they would need like Ray and his shrink ray in order to probably subdue and any chance of like subduing Grodd. But so I give it I say I give the finale like I give it an 8 out of 10. It was definitely a good finale, good way to wrap everything up. At least most things up, and still leave the door open for season 4, even though there were some loose ends that weren't tied up. And really, it was weird that he kind I guess for Dark to get a redemption, or get redemption through saving his daughter, and Ray being able to give Nora the Time Stone. So even though she was apprehended by the Time Bureau, he just gave that to her as a means of using that to like escape and just take that second chance. So that was pretty sweet, and that Nora got her or at least will get a redemption, and probably will show up again on season 4. I mean, considering she's familiar with working with magic, and I mean, in real life she's married to Brandon Routh, so I wouldn't be shocked if we do see her again in season 4. But What do you guys think of the finale? How did you like the twist about Beebo versus Malice? And what did you and what were your what are your predictions for season 4? Leave your thoughts in the comments down below. If you like this video, like, share, and subscribe, and I will talk to you guys soon. Take care.